My name's Timothy Carentz. Came in 1994, entered the Air Force, get out of Queens, New York, but then also for an education. And so I came in and was at peacetime, and I was assigned to Andrews Air Force Base, right outside the District of Columbia, inside of Maryland. I was sitting in my office. I still remember it was a very small office, blue walls, a window right nearby, and just some of those things just stand out as details the morning of. Somebody comes running down the hall, and I hear them running down the hall, and they come right into my office, and they said, hey, Sergeant Carentz, come look and see what's on TV. So I got up, and I go over to the TV, and I see it, the first tower was hit. And originally, all of us thought it was just an accident, just a plane had just went off course, something went wrong, and just hit the first building. And shortly after, we see a second plane coming in and hit the other tower, and immediately we all knew that something was wrong. My role at that time, I worked trauma critical care, so cardiopulmonary in the Air Force. And over the critical care ground transport teams and air transport teams, and so we got our teams together. And the plan actually was that we were going to drive out to the flight line on the base, get all of our gear, fly up to New Jersey, and air evac the critically wounded from the Twin Towers to a stadium in New Jersey. And while we were on the bus driving out to the flight line, I was at the front of the bus, and the bus was packed full of first responders. It was an airman, a young airman, new to the Air Force. He's driving the bus, and over the radio, he's asked, if somebody comes over the radio and says, do you know how to get to the Pentagon? He wasn't sure how to get to the Pentagon, but then there was a solemn silence just across the bus. We just knew something was wrong, and I knew how to get there, so I was at the front of the bus directing them towards the Pentagon. And we get onto the Beltway, the 495-95 Beltway, and normally it's packed with traffic, hundreds of thousands of cars, but this time it was empty. And we had a police car at every single entrance and exit, and while we're on the bus going towards the Pentagon, there was a helicopter flying right overhead. As we approached the Pentagon, in the distance, I'm able to just see black smoke rising up from the Pentagon. I see helicopters, whether they were news, police, or military, circling the building. And we pull up, and we circle around towards the back of the Pentagon, and we're actually there for about 25 hours. Some of the stuff that we got to experience were individuals coming together to help, Lowe's pulling up with a truck full of wood to prop up the building so it wouldn't collapse. U-Haul showed up packed with Whoppers and Big Macs to feed us. Red Cross was there handing out blankets and hot chocolate because we were there all night. But then, of course, we were also pulling bodies from the wreckage, placing them in the body bags, and setting them off to the side. And some of the things that makes it worse for me, one, I was fairly young, 21 years old, and not seen anything like this before. Two, my family home in New York. I mean, that was the skyline I was used to seeing, the Twin Towers. I couldn't get a hold of any of my family in New York. They couldn't get a hold of me. You know, my family locally was not able to get a hold of me either, unsure of where I was at.